Introduction to competencies. Today we'll be talking in this presentation. Welcome everyone. So we'll talk about competencies, what is it all about it, and try to identify a example for you to comprehend what competencies is required for a particular position in this video. So the agenda is very small, very simple. We will try to identify core competencies and how does it impacts your career. Comparing the levels of behavior demonstrate at least 5 core competencies and 4 threshold competencies that we like to go about it. Yes, we will be talking about 15 core competencies that one needs to possess. So, essentially speaking, there are two types of competencies. One, that of technical competencies, which gives me the knowledge or the skills required to do. Technical competencies is just the knowledge or the skills that we are required to do, or should I say what a person is expected to know when doing a job. On the other hand would be a behavioral competency. The behavioral competencies a person demonstrate in performing the job. So what are we doing, what do we know, and what we do, that's the behavioral competency. Or should I say rephrase this term with how an individual approaches his or her work, perhaps that is what we look to go around it. So just for an example, is using email a technical or behavioral competency? Probably both of them, and as the case might be. So there are two types of competencies, that's what we would love to go around it. Why? Because knowing when to best use the email instead of face-to-face communication and knowing how to phrase your mail is both an example of a behavioral competencies and the technical competencies. Yes, there are two types of competencies which we require, both technical and behavioral as the case might be. So what are we looking into it? We are trying to ensure that you are able to read and respond to the mail, and that is what technical competencies is all about it. That's the point of knowing when to use, what to use, and how to use as the case might be. As the case goes around it. Successful performances is what when you answer and how you go about there. So what are the goals that you want to go around it and how do you achieve those goals? The activities, the competencies that enables the successful achievement, and that is leads to the successful performances. Yes, we understand exactly what plus how will give make me a successful performer. The competencies can be compared only at the tip of iceberg can be seen, and that is nothing but technical competencies, and below, believe me, below the iceberg is the behavioral competencies that goes around here. We are talking about being caring, creativity, intuitive, your emotional intelligence, how well you are going about it, what are the behavioral competencies that needs to go around, and that is the focus. Everybody is technically competent, technically qualified, they know what the knowledge and skills are required for the jobs and the ability to do the job. That's what is required. The personal characteristics of your values, your self-image, your traits, your principles, your motives, your culture, that counts to be the behavioral competencies, and that is what the crux of the situation that comes around it. So exactly speaking, what does the competency look around? Now allow me to give this thing with the different parts that goes around it, and let me understand how competency collaboration with an example for you to go around it. Let's say we're talking about the collaboration model. Collaboration is all about communicating between one team and the other's team, between the team and the team members, the agencies, the organization, outside an immediate work area span. We are talking about the community growth, the community partners, the different stakeholders to be aligned with. It is not encouraging but expecting collaboration efforts and information as the goes by it. So what are we doing about collaboration? We are collaborating our work, we are communicating about our expectation, we are communicating what we have done around it, we are willingly to accept an ideas, probably change our thought process, probably adapt the one. We are talking about all about sharing information with our team members. We're talking about values others and solicit inputs. This is what comes around here. Remember, collaboration is all about team building and transparency. We are talking about definition, what competency means, level titles as to what position that one person is working around it, skills, behaviors are arranged, increasing orders of sophistication, behavioral indicator, discrete packets of behaviors and characteristics thereby. So competencies are made of what? Let me give you a definition of competencies altogether. Basically, there are essentially 3 to 5 different levels of performance that is acceptable. Each level will give you a describing sense to it. It can be basic, it can be intermediate, it can be advanced, it can be superior. Anything between 3 to 5 levels. So scales, as the level increases, the complexity of the performance increases. Definitely, yes, and office executive and the manager or the director of that company cannot be paid equal because why? Because they have different competencies, they have different responsibilities. Their performance criteria gets increasingly complex. Level one require the most people to straightforward behavior. Staffs are aiming to perform competencies at different level depending upon the position. Let's say the direct staff professional aiming at a lower level of competency, whereas level three is wherein encouraging others. You're talking about supervisory or managerial position, then the supervisor who is expected to demonstrate a higher level of things. Whereas level 4 works with the team building and team spirit. Remember, behavioral indicators are the title that's been listed below. It can be of a clinical supervisor, it can be a psychologist, it can be a surgeon, it can be a chef, it can be just a retail specialist, and so on and so forth. So, how do competencies differ from position? Yes, every position has different requirement because they mandate different roles and responsibility. With each roles and responsibility, you are supposed to exhibit different kind of behaviors, different kind of knowledge set, skill set, and so on and so forth. So targeted competencies have developed in the following position. I'm talking about just an example for you. To direct support professional is clinical specialist. Direct support supervisors might be managers, whereas specialized support workers would be the directors, perhaps. Let me give you the threshold of competencies. For each position, there are competencies that someone must possess before starting a position. Now, these are called threshold competencies. So, what have you done before actually occupying that position altogether? So a director cannot become a director overnight. First, probably he or she has to be a supervisor, manager, and probably would come to know about those threshold competencies of walking to the door of the position of the director. So yes, we are talking about threshold competencies of all position in terms of flexibility, self-control, service orientation, values, and ethics thereby. So threshold competencies are nothing but a baseline competency used for recruitment, the basic requirement that is required. The competencies to perform a job at a minimal effective level, and they often do not, I repeat, do not distinguish between superior or an average performer. They just state whether you are looking at it, and they are in silos. The average performers are in silos, the superior performers are in silos, and the qualities, the quantities, amount of work that goes around it. So, based upon organization values and represent a minimum requirement which is considered for the job. On the other hand, core competencies are the minimum competencies that each position has to have. That's the threshold competency that we look into it. That will drive into a superior performances. Remember, threshold competencies are particular for each position because they become essentially part of your core competence. So let us look at core competence of different position for your understanding. The audience of this video, they will understand what the core competence for essentially different position which comes around it. Let's say advocating for others, collaborations, creative problem solving, fostering independence, initiative, interpersonal relationships, resilience. Now, these are direct professional core competencies. You should not get swept away just because of the fact that somebody is making an emotional appeal to it. You should be resilient and understand what is the matter, the crux of the matter, differentiate what is to be done, how it is to be done, and what needs to be segregated or negated, perhaps. So you have to have the fostering independence in others, initiative, resilience, interpersonal relationship. At the same time, you cannot undermine the respect of another person, the dignity of the gentleman or the lady whom you are handling. Well, talk about supervisors. What are the core competencies for supervisors? Again, one of the same thing as far as advocacies are concerned to others, creating problems, creative problem solving and decision making, holding people accountable, leading others, developing others, collaboration. The threshold competencies for the managers would be fostering independence in others, initiative, interpersonal relations, and respect and resilience thereby. These are the things that needs to be taken into account every now and then. Now let us talk about a specialized support worker. That is of a director or a manager. identical as with the other support, the first order manager. For the resilient worker, you again have to have been advocating for others, fostering independence, collaboration, initiative, resilience, creative problem solving and decision making, and excellent interpersonal skills, if I may add so. Giving with an example of a clinical specialist, what do we do around it? These are things that a clinical specialist has to have. The clinical specialist would be handling patients, the customers, the clients. How do we go around it? The proper interpersonal relationship has to be there. The self-development, the resilience for whatever the pressures that comes around it. On the other hand, for a manager and director, again the same thing, but in a different perspective, holding people accountable, leading others, managing change, resource management, strategic thinking gets into the paradigm altogether. Being sure with advocating and creating problem solving, developing others, and relationship network. Now, let me give you that of an executive director of the core competencies. Again, one of the same thing that comes around it, but gets refined. If you look out here, we are not trying to build up an interpersonal relationship out here as such. What we are trying to maintain integrity. What we are trying to forward looking sense of strategic thinker. We are trying about planning, coordination, and executions. We are trying to ensure that people have been developed, coming up with new innovative solutions to any problems. We are talking about organizational awareness. We are talking about political activity. So essentially, there are 15 competencies, and allow me to go around it. Advocating for others, collaboration, creative problem solving and decision making, developing others, fostering independence in others, holding people accountable, initiative, interpersonal relations and respect, leading others, managing change, relationship network building, resilience, resource management, and self-development. The last one being is all about strategic position. Remember, these are the core competencies that goes around is 15 core competencies, but not each position needs to have those core competencies. Strategic thinkers would be into the directorship positions that comes around it. Resilience might be there for the first, the clinical specialist or the supervisory position that comes around it. Developing others, on the other hand, might be missing in the first, the clinical specializations work around. It can be there in the supervisory director, manager levels as far the thing is. But essentially, these are the core competencies that comes around it. Allow me to go around those 15 competencies one at a time so that everybody understand what needs to go around it. So we're talking about individual demonstrating competencies for advocating others. We're talking about states fact to persuade, to motivate, take multiple actions to encourage, calculate impact of action or words, use direct influences, and probably uses complex influencing strategy as on when on basis. The thing that works with people, you need to work around with them and nothing beyond them per se. We're talking about advocating for others. If you take a turn and please understand what we are looking for it, we want you to understand the competencies for advocacies for others is stating the facts to persuade or to motivate, taking multiple actions to encourage, calculate the impact of work, action. Remember, we are only in exerting influence but not directly, not enforcing anything with powers, with responsibilities, with rules, with regulations the company might be providing. That is where this complex influencing strategy comes around it as far as advocacy is concerned. We will talk about what level 3, calculating impact of actions or words in the level of advocating others. Then both direct professionals and supervisors are striving to perform around here. This is where we need to understand how do we go around. Now, what are we looking into? Look, what has been professionally supervising are coded in green. Since level 3 is green coded, as the case might be, if we are talking out here, this is what we are looking forward to. Calculating the impact of action as on when on basis. What we are looking at in actual level 3 calculates the impact. How do we go? Absolutely nothing. Collaborations. Now we are collaborating our own work. collaborating with others' work, getting our own input, sharing our own input, incorporating others' viewpoint, encouraging others, trying to be respectful, politeful to every stakeholders, trying to be respectful, polite to every co-workers. Why? Because information sharing comes with the shared outcomes. Shared outcomes are responsibilities of everyone up, which helps us to bring nothing but team commitment. That is the essence of collaboration is as a core competence. Now talking about creative problem solving, it is all about coming up with innovations, thinking out of the box by understanding the situation, seeking additional information, developing and probably weighing down the alternative that comes around it, choosing the most appropriate course of action given to the circumstances, or probably thinking outside the box is what I have been trying to tell it to you. So use a common sense approach to solve problem. Absolutely yes. Need to be an open to new ideas, understand acts on basic relationship, identifies, considers the option to solve problem or solve complex problem thereby. So developing others. Now, how do we go around it? This is one of the major fact which can helps us in ensuring our quality and the quantity of work to be optimally around the clock. Developing others involves genuine intent and passion to foster long-term learning, long-term development for others, encouraging, managing performances, coaching them in order to fulfill the requirements, both present and future. So, how do we go around it? First and foremost is share your task related advice. Create learning opportunities for others relative to this technical skill acquisition. Coaching others and providing advice related to the competencies. Providing an in depth coaching. Champion and supporting learning environment that facilitates employees' growth and development as the case might be. We're talking about fostering independence in others. Fostering independence in others is about enabling others to be self-sufficient, to nurture self-determination. It is also sharing the responsibility with individuals and groups so that they have a deep understanding of commitment, deep understanding of ownership. This is fostering independence in others, ensuring that people are getting self-sufficient. They can be provided training, they can be provided support, but confidence building measures is where we need to go around it. So give them, delegate them, empower them, and that's the only way to go around it. So what we are looking out here, we are doing nothing but probably sharing what can be done as far as level 4 is all about it. Now level 4 is fully empowering our employees, and that is what we are looking coded in blue. Be it clinical specialist is coded in blue, level 4 is blue, that is aiming to perform then and there as on when on basis. So level 4 fully empowers others in the terms of fostering independence, in the terms of ensuring that everybody tends to understand the scope of their work, holding people accountable. Holding people accountable is all about communicating, all about being responsible, all about providing resources at their disposal. And if they cannot optimize or come to alternative solutions, people should be made responsible and accountable so that the things might not get way ahead or probably in a distorted in due courses of time. So we need to set limits, we need to hold people accountable for performances, we need to insist on high performance, addressing the issues then and there, using appropriate positional authorities, give them the direction, set limits, insist high performances, hold people accountable for performances, set up difficult decisions as the case might be. We're talking about initiatives. What is initiative? Initiative is all about actions. Initiative is all about proactivity. Initiative of all about anticipating before the things actually happen. It is all about future action. The time frame of the scale move from addressing current opportunities or problem, which is I call reactive, to acting on a future opportunities or problem, which I call proactive. Now that is what we are addressing the current opportunities, taking actions under pressure, thinking and planning ahead, implementing short-term goals, implementing long-term situation and comprehensive issues then and there. Next core competencies is all about interpersonal relationships, interpersonal respect. This is all about dealing with people in a powerful, responsive, and respectful fashion. It means all about listening. It is means all about understanding. It is means all about having a high EI, emotional intelligence. This is where we need to ensure that people are being treated with dignity. People are fully understood. People are fully empathized and understanding their behavior accordingly, as the case might be. Then comes the core competences of leading others. Leading others is about taking the role of the people or the team members, involving upon inspiring them, giving clarity, giving direction to the compelling vision of the future. Now, what are we looking at it to? The success of the others facilitates the team functions, promote team effectiveness, obtain the resources, take care of the team, positions self as a leader, positions commitment to the compelling vision, as the case might be, of what we are actually going around. Now, this is what managing change is all about. It managing change is about supporting a change initiative that has been mandated within the agencies or the sectors. It involves helping employees and individuals, their families understand what changes means to them. So what are we looking? We are advocating for change, speaking up for changes, what needs to be done, linking change to the work process, and ensuring that actual change happens on an individual levels. Follow through and change initiative, manage the change process then and there, as the case might be. We are talking next is all about relationship or network building. It is all about constructive, productive working relationship, partnering with people, with your vendors, with your co-workers. It includes demonstrating strong interpersonal relations which interacts with others in ways that advances the work of agencies by developing respect, trust, and mutual understanding. Now, how do we go around it? First and foremost thing is to maintain current relation, solidifies work relationship, proactively establishing planned networks to the specific issues then and there. Network to enhance strategic influence and opportunities, as the case might be. Next is all about resilience. Resilience involves maintaining your focus, ensuring that your performance is not suffering because of continuous stress, because of undue pressures from different points of view. It means about bouncing back from disappointment, from confrontation, and not letting negativity creep into you. Remember, any sort of negativity should not hamper your performances. Resilience is all about consistent display of determination, of self discipline, of commitment. And that is how we are going to work around it to maintain a sense of consistency on our performances under normal or immense pressure. Overcome obstacles, distraction in a specific situation, be it short term, be it a long term, be it a medium term, depending, deliver the result thereby. Resource management is all about understanding and effectively managing resources, be it men, be it material, be it money. So men, material, money, this is to demonstrate, to understand what are the resources and how can we optimally utilize it. Pursue the effectiveness, the efficacy of your operation is at stake. It requires the balance, the requisite balance, which might benefit the company in the long run per se. Next comes the self development. It is all about taking proactive actions to improve you as a person. It involves being willingness to improve your own performances at your own expertise level, from whatever level you are working around, at a basic level, an intermediate level, at an advanced level, or a superior level. Whichever level you are working around, can you improve upon your performances? Can things be improved? Probably yes. Continuous improvement is the main thing out here. Update job knowledge, initiate self development, actively seek feedback for performance enhancement, and take responsibility for personal career development, as the case might be. We're talking about strategic thinking as linking in a long range vision. Concepts of daily work ranging from simple understanding to a sophisticated awareness of impact of the world at large on strategies, on choices. Demonstrate personal work alignment, promote team alignment, align programs, operational goals and plans, influence strategic directions. develop vision, as the case might be. If you can go through about it, you have already won the job. Strategic thinking is an epitome of future orientation, understanding the train, staying ahead of the curve, ensuring what you are thinking is being pursued by your team members in spirit. So, talking about those 15 competencies, allow me to go across with it, advocating for each one of them, collaborating everything that comes around it, creating problem solving, developing others, fostering independence in others, holding people accountable, initiative, interpersonal relations, leading the change, managing the change, relationship network, resilience, resource management, self development, strategic thinking, you name it, case might be. So, how do we go about in summary? Yes, we want to move forward. Moving forward is means life. Moving forward means advancement. We are talking about comprehensive assessment quality process, CAQS. Keep the record of your own behavior, take responsibility of your own development, institute discussions as and when required, and be open to feedback. Monitor your own performances every now and then, and this will ensure that you have achieved the epitome of success in due course of time. Thank you for watching this video. I'm sure everything has been clarified.